Something a little bit different for you today. I'm doing a lesson on location at Results Body and Mind in Bath. My favourite place to come and do the sauna and the ice bath, which you can see just behind me, a really great way to unwind. And I thought, what better thing to do in a place like this where you relax than to teach you my favourite relaxing guitar chords. So the three chords we're going to cover today are a D minor 7, a G7 and a C major 7. And when you put those three chords together, that is known as a 2-5-1 chord progression. So as usual, without further ado, let's get zoomed in. If you haven't downloaded my free beginner guitar survival kit yet, do that from a link in the description. So what about this D minor 7 chord then? Well, we're going to take our first finger and we're going to bar it across the first fret of the high E and the B strings. High E string, B string. Then we're going to take our second finger and place it on the second fret of the G string. And then we're going to strum 4 strings from the D string downwards. So the thinnest 4 strings. That's probably the hardest chord of these just because it's got that bar in it. So you might feel this in your wrist, especially as a beginner. So that's your D minor 7 chord. The next chord is a G7 chord. We're going to take our third finger and place it on fret number 3 of the low E string. And the underside of that third finger is going to be muting the A string. That's really crucial that we don't let that A string ring out or else it's going to sound pretty muddy. And then we take our first finger here and place it on fret 1 of the high E string. And then we strum all 6 strings, and it doesn't matter if we strum the A, don't forget, because we're muting it with the underside of this finger. And that is our G7 chord. And then the next chord from there is a C major 7. Now, the C major 7 I'm about to show you from this G7 chord, you probably want to use these middle 2 fingers here. So the third fret on the A string with finger number 3, and then the second fret on the D string with finger number 2. And you'll notice that's the same as your C major chord, except you're not pressing down with the first finger here. And that gives you the C major 7. So D minor 7 to G7 to C major 7. Let's have a look at some ways we can experiment with these chords. The first thing you might want to try is a simple down strum on each beat of the bar. And that will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, switch chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then switch chord again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how that C major 7 chord there has 2 bars and not 1, so that's 8 beats for the C major 7 chord. So we put that all together, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next thing we can do is actually play a standard strumming pattern with those chords. So we have our D minor 7 chord. Now, as you're playing the strumming pattern, you may well find that your thumb on your fretting hand wants to come over and it wants to mute the low E and the A string. And if it wants to do that to save the strumming hand a little bit of work, then so be it. That's going to help you out a lot. So we're going to use our old friend down, down, up, down, up. Down, down, up, down, up. For the D minor 7, then we switch to the G7 and do the same thing. Down, down, up, down, up, and then the C major 7 and do the same thing once more. And a little bonus tip here for the C major 7, we want the tip of the third finger to be touching the low E string, because that means that third finger is then going to be muting the low E string. And so when you're strumming, you haven't got to be as careful. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. So all together, that's going to sound like this. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. And then the final thing that you might do to make this a bit more interesting is to pick the individual notes of the chord. Now, if you're not used to alternate picking and picking individual strings, this might actually be a little bit tricky. So we'll take it nice and slowly. So we grab our D minor 7 chord there, and we're just going to pick 4 notes at the start of each bar, and that's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Notice there when I was vocalizing that, I was saying 1 and 2 and. That is to show you where we're actually picking the notes. And as for the strings that we use, on the D minor 7 chord, we're picking the D, G, B and high E in that order, down towards the floor. Down, up with your picking hand. Then we pick all the same strings except the bass note moves from the D string, the open D string, to the 3rd fret of the low E, which is the bass note for the G7 chord. And we go down, up, down, up. So 2 chords together. And then we go to the C major 7 chord, and once again it's the bass note that moves to the 3rd fret of the A string, and then we pick the G, B and high E strings. So all together. If you enjoyed that video and you want to see more like this, check out the video that's on your screen now.